We continue now at the top of Daf Kuf Chaf Chesam and Beis and Meseches Bava Basra. This is Bava Basra Daf 128b. On the previous summer, there was a machlokas amoraim between Shmuel and Rav Sheshes and Rav Papa regarding somebody who was able to see and then he became blind. So what exactly is he able to testify on? For example, by land, maybe he should be able to testify because he can still remember the borders, the boundaries of the land. And the Gemara had a machlokas amoraim there. All amoraim agreed that at least at some level, this individual is able to testify. The problem is the Gemara brought a brisa which seems to say that it's not true. If the person is blind at the time that he's testifying, it's problematic. And that's why the Gemara now says, Tiyufta dekulu tiyufta. It seems like this brisa is a refutation of all of the amoraim. As the Rashbam explains, Tiyufta dekulu, Shmuel v'Rav Sheshes v'Rav Papa. It's a refutation of Shmuel, Rav Sheshes, and Rav Papa. Dekulu nechshiru miya le'edus karka. Everybody agreed at the very least that this blind person is able to testify about land. Piseach v'nestama, when he was able to see before and now he can't. V'hacha kapasel kulu edius. And here it seems like the brisa is saying all testimony is problematic for someone who's blind, midahadar v'tana, because the brisa goes back and repeats itself and says, Zahaklal, here's the rule, kol shetchilaso osofa bepaslos, pasal, if in the beginning or in the end the person was disqualified, he is disqualified. Tahamereja shamat minadim sofa bepaslos pasal. We already know from the beginning of the brisa that if at the end he's disqualified, he's disqualified. V'lamalila mahadar lemisni bazahaklal. Why would you need to go back and say a rule, ilav lasuye kolhani, if not to be including all of these cases? So it seems like the brisa is a refutation of the amoraim above. That's what the Gemara means, tiyufta dekulu tiyufta. It seems to be that it is a refutation of all of the amoraim above. And the Gemara continues, Shalach Rabbi Abba Rav Yosef bar Chama. Rabbi Abba sent the following ruling to Rav Yosef bar Chama. Ha'omer al tinok bein habonim nemon. If somebody says something about a child among the children, he is believed. For Rabbi Yochanan amar eno nemon, and Rabbi Yochanan says he is not believed. The Gemara immediately asks my kamar, what is being said over here? We don't understand the case. Amar Abaya says hachi kamar. This is what we're saying. Ha'omer al tinok bein habonim. If someone says about one child among the children, yirash kol nechasai, he should inherit all of my property. Nemon, he is believed. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka, that would follow the opinion of Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka. Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka says that a person is allowed to say, let's say one son among many sons, he can say this son should inherit everything. That's Rabbi Yochanan ben Broka's particular position. We'll see that later on. For Rabbi Yochanan amar eno nemon, but Rabbi Yochanan says he's not believed. Kirabbanan, like the Rabbanan say, this is also a Mishnah earlier, where the Mishnah said that a person is essentially being masnal mashakasa b'Torah. It's like he's trying to make a condition against what is written in the Torah. According to the Rabbanan, you can't do that. You can't say that this person should be the heir, the sole heir, when really, according to the Torah, they should divide the property. But the Gemara continues, Maskef lo Rava. Rava asks on this explanation, Hai nemon ve'eno nemon. Why are they saying, if that's the meaning of this ruling, why are they saying he's believed or he's not believed? Yirash v'lo yirash mi boile. The way it should have been phrased was, he inherits or he does not inherit. So it can't be that that's what was going on within this machlokas amoraim. Elama Rava, rather Rava says, hachi kamar. This is what we mean to say. Ha'omer al tinok bein habonim bechoru. If somebody says about a child, about a son among the sons, that this son is the bechor, Namon, he's believed. Rabbi Yehuda, the one who says Namon, is following the sheet of Rabbi Yehuda, which we had earlier. For Rabbi Yochanan, Rabbi Yochanan says, Eino Namon, he's not believed. Kirabbanan, that follows the opinion of the Rabbanan again that we had earlier. He's not believed to say that this is a bechor. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Sholach le Rabbi Abba Rav Yosef bar Chama. Rabbi Abba sent Rav Yosef bar Chama the following ruling: Ha'omer titol ishti ke'echad min habonim. If a person says, my wife should take from the inheritance like one of the sons takes, she should take the same portion. No telas ke'echad min habonim. She takes a portion just like the sons. Amar Rava. Rava says uvenechasim shel achshav, that specifically with regards to property that he has now, he can't say that regarding property he's going to get in the future. Ubebonim haboin la'achar mikan. But in terms of the sons, that would include even sons that come later on, she still gets a portion even with regards to those. And the Rashbam explains, Uvenechasim shel achshav, we're talking about property that he has right now. Shem nisrabu hanechasim, let's say there's more property, b'shas chaluk, at the time they're actually dividing the property, eina notelas, that she can't take. Kim ba'osan shahayu lo b'shas amira, she can only take from those properties that he had at the time that he made the statement, de'eina da makna davar shelo bali olam, because a person is not able to be makna something that doesn't yet exist. The property he gets in the future does not yet exist. And the Rashbam continues, Uvevonim haboin la'achar mikan. It also includes the children that are going to be around later on. Kilomar means to say, Lo lefi cheshbon habonim sheyesh lo achshav levad tachluk la'achar mo. So it's not just according to the number of sons that he has right now that she's going to be able to take a portion after his death. V'titol chela gadol, because then she would get a very large portion. Let's say he has many more children, but the portion she was entitled to at that point in time when he made the statement is what she's getting. That's what you might say. Ela af lefi cheshbon kol habonim shel l'shas chaluka nasan la. He's really going according to the calculation of all the children she has at the time of all the children that they have at the time of the division, and therefore she will not get as large of a portion. And the Rashbam continues, V'nir be'enai, it appears to me, da'afilu im haya lo banim merubim. Let's say he had a lot of children at the time he made the statement, so she had a very small portion. V'nismatu b'chayhav, and let's say actually some of the children die, and so there are fewer children at the time that the father actually dies. So then the question is, she should maybe get a larger portion. And the Rashbam says, yes, the shakla chayla gadol, she'll get a larger portion. Kecheshben miyat habonim haboin la'achluk b'nechsei ha'av la'achar misasu, according to the small amount of kids that are around at the time of the division after his death. To hatitol ke'echon mikol habonim kamer, because what he's saying is that she gets like one of all of the sons. Well, the shas chaluka echaven, and the idea is it goes by the amount of sons that are there at the time of the division. The lefi chaluka seishai tatitol, according to the division at that time is what she's taking. Lo shnan nisrabu v'lo shnan nismatu. It doesn't matter if there's more children or less children at that time. Tanotelis ishto ke'echon min habonim kamer Rabbi Abba. That's what Rabbi Abba is saying, is that she takes like one of the sons. And the Gemara continues at the two dots. Shalach le Rabbi Abba le Rav Yosef bar Chama. Rabbi Abba sent Rav Yosef bar Chama the following ruling: Hamotzi shtar chov al chaveru. If somebody has a shtar chov against his friend, meaning a lender has a document that he's owed money from a lova, from a borrower, malva omer lo nefrati klum. The lender says, I haven't collected anything. I'm owed the entire amount. Velova omer, and the lova says, the borrower says, parati mechsa, I paid half of it, but the borrower admits that he owes half of it. V'oedim mi'idin, and there are witnesses that testify shapara kulo, that actually the borrower paid everything and that the borrower owes nothing. Harezen nishba v'gova mechsa. So the halach is that the borrower does have to take an oath. The reason he takes an oath is he's considered to be like a regular mode of a mixas, so he has to take an oath that he does not owe the other half. And then again, v'gova mechsa, the lender can collect the half that the borrower admitted to. Minachasim b'nei chorim, but he's only allowed to collect from the free property, meaning property that the borrower actually has in his possession. Avol mimishubadim lo, but he cannot collect from liened property, meaning if the borrower sold any property to buyers, to lekuchos, the lender is not allowed to take from those buyers, even though normally a lender, when he has a shtar chov, is able to take from buyers, and that in this case he cannot. Why da'amri? Because the buyers can say, anon ha'edim samchin, and we relied on the witnesses. There are witnesses who are saying that everything was paid off, and so when we bought property from the borrower, we assumed that everything was paid off, and we relied on that. Therefore, the lender cannot collect from those properties. He can only collect from free property. And the Gemara continues, Va'afilu Rabbi Akiva, even according to Rabbi Akiva, Da'amar Meishav Aveda Have, who says that sometimes you have a case of a moda mixas where he's really a Meishav Aveda, it's like he's returning a lost object. He really did not need to admit to as much as he admitted to. We'll see the Rashbam in a moment in terms of the case. So you might think over here that he's a Meishav Aveda because there are Edom that really exempted the lova totally. There are Edom that say that the borrower owes nothing. So the fact that he admitted to anything might be Meishav Aveda. Why should he have to take an oath of the mode of a mixas? But the Gemara says, no, Hani Mili, that's true. Heicha deleka Edom, where there are no witnesses that they know are going to be coming in the future. Aval Heicha deika Edom, but in a situation where they know witnesses might come, and they don't know what the witnesses are going to say. The borrower is not sure if the witnesses are going to back him up, or are they going to back the lender up. So there, Irsuse Irsus, there he's actually afraid, and therefore we don't say that he's a Meishav Aveda, rather we consider him to be a regular mode of a mixas, and he has to take a shvua. And the Rashbam explains, Plugsa de Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, this machlokas between Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar. Again, Rabbi Akiva is the one that says Meishav Aveda, Betchila Shnayim Ochzin, that's in the beginning of Shnayim Ochzin in Bab Metzia. Shtar Shekasabo Sloin o Dinarin, it's a document that says that the borrower owes Sloin or Dinarim. The point is that it's in plural, a plural amount of coins. The minimum plural would be 2 coins. Malva Omer Chamish, the Malva says he owes me 5 coins, he owes me 5 Dinarim or 5 Sloim. Velova Omer Shalosh, and the Lova says, no, I only owe you 3, but really the Lova only needed to say 2. Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar says, Hoel v'hodem mixas hatayna yishafa. Since he's a modem of mixas, he's admitting to part of it, he has to take an oath, a regular shvuas modem of mixas. Rabbi Akiva says, Eino ela kameshav aveda upatr mishvua. He's like returning a lost object, he's exempt from a shvua. To sloim lo mashma tfei mishnayim, because the word slime is not mashma more than 2 of them, so he only had to admit to 2. To tafasim or willow tafasi, you shouldn't assume that it's more. V'yad bal hashtar ala tachton, in this case, the person who has the shtar, he has the lower hand. V'yal hashlishi shahoda, so the fact that the borrower is admitting to the third sela, have a meishav aved, it's like he's returning a lost object. Utnan, and we learned in the Mishnah, Hamotzi Metzia lo yishavam im netikan olam, if somebody is returning a lost object, he does not need to take an oath. That's for the betterment of the world. V'yafilu Rabbi Akiva da amar hasa meishav avedahu besela hashlishi. So we're saying, even according to Rabbi Akiva, who says over there that he's a meishav aveda, the fact that he admitted to that third sela, di have a boy have a amar in Shleinan ela Shnayim, he could have just said that it's 2, the Slain Trey Mashma, because Slain is Mashma a minimum of 2. V'hava Mifter Mishvu, and he actually would have been Potter, he would have been exempt from an oath, like it's explained over there in Baba Metzia, Mishum Deka Messiah Leishtara, because he has a document that supports him. But Hani Mili the Chashvin le Meshav Aveda, we only consider him a Meshav Aveda, Heicha Deleka Edim, where there are no witnesses. Ki Hasam, like over there, She'edei Malve, Lo Yadu Elamah Shekosvu, the Slain Kosvu Stam, Upachu Slaim Shnayim. The Edim over there know nothing. All they know is what's written in the document. The document says Slaim, and we know that that amount is a minimum of 2. Aval Heicha Dechazinan Levasof Deika Edim Ke'echad Mehem. But if we have a case like over here, where witnesses come after the fact and support one of the two sides, we can say that the borrower knew he knew there were witnesses that were going to support one side, and he was afraid that they might come and support the lender, and therefore he admitted to half of it, and that's why over here he does take a shvua. But the Gemara continues, Mar Bar Ravashi asks on this the following question, Adrab, on the contrary, Afilu Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, even according to Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar in that Machlokas Rabbi Akiva and Rabbi Shimon ben Elazar, Diamar Moda Mixas Hatay Nahava, he says by that case where he admits to 3 slime that he is considered to be a Moda of a Mixas and he takes an oath. Hani Mili Hecha Deleka Edim, the Kamasayale, that's in a situation where he has no Edim that are supporting his side. Aval Hecha Diga Edim the Kamasayale, but in a case where he has witnesses that are supporting his side, like in our case, the Edim say the borrower owes nothing and the borrower is admitting to half, Vadai Meshav Aveda have. On the contrary, he should certainly be a Meshav Aveda, and there should be no obligation to take an oath. And the Rashbam explains, Vadai Meshav Aveda have, again, Mar Bar Ravashi asks, he certainly should be a Meshav Aveda here. Now, even though the witnesses really only came after he admitted, so you might say the witnesses are irrelevant, still shouldn't he be considered a Meshav Aveda? But the Rashbam notes, but this question of Mar Bar Ravashi, Lo Chayshinala, we do not concern ourselves with this question, Kidil Kamon, as we'll say later on. And the Gemara continues, Darash Mar Zutra Mishmei Rav Shimi Barashi, Mar Zutra Darshan in the name of Rav Shimi Barashi, Hilchasa B'chol Hanishmaitza Kedushalach Le, Rabbi Abba Rav Yosef Bar Chama. The halacha in all of these rulings which Rabbi Abba sent to Rav Yosef Bar Chama, the halacha is like all of these rulings. But the Gemara continues, Amar Le Ravina Rav Ashi. Ravina said to Rav Ashi, to Rav Nachman Mai, what about the one which Rav Nachman argued? That's on the previous Amud, regarding whether or not you can collect from Avodim. And the way we had it on the previous Amud was Rav Nachman actually disagreed with what was sent by Rabbi Abba to Rav Yosef Bar Chama. Usually we paskin like Rav Nachman when it comes to monetary cases. Amar Le, he said back to him, Ein Govin Masninan La V'chein Amar Rav Nachman. The way we learn that case is actually you're not allowed to collect from Avodim, V'chein Amar Rav Nachman, and Rav Nachman says exactly the same thing. Rav Nachman does not disagree, and that's why we paskin there as well, like Rabbi Abba sent to Rav Yosef Bar Chama. But the Gemara continues, but if that's true and nobody really argues, so what is he saying that the halach is like what was sent by Rabbi Abba? What is that coming to exclude? And we will continue with this discussion in the next video on Daf Kuf Chav Tes Amud Aleph.